In this chapter, we'll talk about add-ons. In this video, we'll see how to use AntLandscape Addon to create some terrain here. But first of all, I would like to show you how to choose your add-ons easily. And you can go now in a new website. It's not really new, but since a few Blender versions, it's here. And you have Blender extensions, okay? So when you go inside Blender extensions, you have all the, let's say, the official add-ons that are available for Blender, and you can go into add-ons here and you will see all the add-ons that are used. So you can sort by rating or by downloads, for example, and you will have the most downloads add-ons here. So we did use already Loop Tool, Bool Tools, Extra Mesh, maybe we'll have a look at it. Extra Curve is just something to add other objects, so very interesting. You have AntLandscape, it's the one that we will use now. You have Archimesh, you have something else, you have a lot of things, and it depends of what you want to do with Blender. Blender is so big that you can do a lot of things with it. You can play with architecture, you can play with general design, you can play with product design, you can play with character design or animation or video games or so much things. And in all these different tasks, some add-ons will be useful, some less. So I will show you the ones that are really useful in my opinion. But it will really depend on what you want to do with Blender. So if you have a task that you want very specific to make, let's say, for example, jewelry, some add-ons that I will show you will not be really useful, but it's always good to see how it works. So basically, you just click on one, and here you have the description, you have the ratings, and so it can be very useful to see. It's better than just going here, edit preferences, and search into the add-ons here. It's not the good Blender version here, sorry. So here in edit preferences, sorry, I have here, and I go into extensions. So you can see that I can have everything, but I don't have the images, I don't have the ratings, everything. So it's good to have this website. And when you have this website, you even have a little trick to add something. When you want to get the add-on, you can just drag and drop into Blender. So here it's not a good example because I have already Bool Tool, but let's say I would like to add Extra Mesh. Okay, do I have Extra Mesh already? Yes, I have Extra Mesh already, so it's not useful. What could be good? 3D print toolbox, I don't think I have it. So let's go for it. And then I just get the add-on and click and drag into Blender, and then just Blender will tell me, do you want to install this add-on? Yes, and it will be into the list. So it's another way of adding some add-ons. It can be good, and you can see that you have, for example, other possibilities, like here you have the themes, for example. So here, if you go there, you want something darker, you get the theme, you drag and drop, you accept, okay, and you will have a new theme. So very easy to use. Now, if you want to come back to the original, you go in the preferences, into the theme section, and you search the Blender Dark, the classical one that we use every day. Okay, so it's a way to make Blender suits to what you want to do with it. So let's go with AntLandscape. I will go into the website because I don't think I have it now. So let's go into the add-on lists. By downloads, I think I will find it easily. I have it here. I get the add-on, I drag and drop. Okay. And that's it. I think it was already in the list here. So now I have AntLandscape. So how it works, basically, you add an object here with Shift A. Okay, into the mesh section, you will find a landscape. Very easy. And it's these options that are important here. So don't move this object because you will have a lot of options to deal with. You can make a sphere, for example, to make some, let's say, rocks or planets or things like that. You can make it flat. And then you have all these little options to understand. So first of all is the subdivision here. You can see that by default it's 128 vertices by 128 vertices. If I enable the geometry, you can see the grid like that, okay? So more you add, more you will have some definition. So for example, if I put 256 here, I will have this kind of definition here, okay? So it can be good to have. You have the mesh size, so if you increase that, you will increase the entire mesh and the noise will not change. So it means that if you put at 8, for example, you will have the same noise with less definition, but bigger here landscape, okay? You can play with the noise settings. You have different kind of noise settings here. You have multifractal, rigged multifractal. You have heteroterrain, for example. You have a lot of possibilities there to play with. So I will let you make some experiments, but the 4 first are more or less good, okay? Because some are a little crazy, like the marble here is not really useful, as you can see. So yeah, let's say the hybrid multifractal here makes good results here. Okay, I come back with the rigged heteroterrain, sorry, it's the one I like. Yeah, here, so you have the noise size, you have the depth, you have the dimension, the offset, and in the end here you have the height of the model. So if you want to increase the height here, you will see that you will have a limit here, maximum and minimum. So if you increase the maximum at 2 here, you will have the entire mesh, or 3 like this. You are sure to have everything, you will have the entire height. So yeah, be careful with this setting, it's too much here for sure, but let's say with something like this we will have something interesting, okay? You can use some strata. For example, here you can make different kind of strata. You can see here I will have this kind of canyon or things like that. And then you have here the different presets, okay? So you can use some, for example, a noise, okay, it will give you this canyon here, okay, will give you real canyons like that, and then you just choose what you want to do with that, okay? So let's say some cliffs, you will have this kind of settings, or what do we have, large terrain maybe, something like that. Again, not bad, this one, I like it. Maybe if we increase the height a little, like at 3, yeah, I like this one. Looks not bad. Maybe yeah, okay. I will come back to it. Double multifractal. Yeah, this one is good. Okay, and so you have a lot of possibilities. You have mountain 1, okay, mountain 2. You can see that it's a lot that you can play with this. But let's create a simple landscape, nothing complicated. So let's go into the default here. I will choose the here double multifractal because it has nice noise into it. I will go, so you can play with the noise size, the depth, the lacularity, a lot here. You can see the dimension here of the noise, here the depth. If you want to add some details, it's not really useful to add more than 10, let's say. The lacularity here will change a little the noise itself, okay, and the offset just to have this kind of settings over there, and the gain if you want to, okay. So let's play with that. I will not want some far off, so I will just put a far off at none. Like this, I will have this kind of settings. I will increase the density maybe at 256 or even more, we will see, okay. So to have this kind of better looking landscape. And then I will go, you can add a water plane if you want. So maybe I have too much height here or too much lacunarity. I will have a look on the design itself. It's too much here. Maybe this is not bad. The dimension a little too big. Yeah, in my opinion, this looks far better and more realistic. So here we have something, let's say, interesting. You can play with higher details and going until 512, something like this, to have really more, yeah, more vertices. So be careful, it will increase the number drastically. So it depends on how much you want to put into your scene here. But basically, let's go into something near 300, something like that. Might be 350, might be a good compromise. Okay, so we have this. Now you can play with the different settings here that are now not in the list here, but here. You can see that into the create, into landscapes, you have landscape, landscape tools, and landscape main, landscape noise. So you can still play with some options of the mesh here. Even if you move this, for example, okay, you can still come back to regenerate something with noise and refresh the noise if needed or whatever. So I just make RG to put it here. But we have something interesting here into the landscape tools. We have the weight from slope and the landscape eroder. So here what we will do, we will use landscape eroder. So it takes a little time to use this. Usually it takes a little of time. We will repeat that maybe 5 times. It should take a while to appear. Yeah, you can see that we start to have nicer result here. So we will keep it like this. Sometimes you can even increase until 10, but let's say 5 will be enough to erode this. I will see the results. It takes a while to compute usually. Yeah? So yeah, no, the 10 it's a little too much. I would say 5. Okay, good. So we have an eroder here. And what we would like with this mesh now is to texture it, because we will have some important informations of this. Here you can see that we have into the data, we have some different vertex groups. We didn't talk that much about vertex group, but basically you can see them more into the vertex, into the weight pane, sorry. So here you can see that you have different settings that will appear, and that shows a little the sediments, the flow rate, things that will be really interesting to add if needed to texture well and to make a realistic texture. So we have a rain map as well. So yeah, let's take the rain map, and you can play with these settings into the texturing. But for this, you have to make little things. You have to use the color attribute node section here. So to do that, you just choose the one. So the rain map here, you have the color attribute. The name will be rain map. Okay. You add it just like that, and you go now into vertex paint. So by default, you can see that it's totally black. And now you go into paint and vertex from color weight. And now it will give you the same thing, but with a shade between white and black. Okay, with a gradient between black and white. So now we can add a few, maybe this one, let's say we are okay with that. So it gives more or less the height. Okay, so higher it is and whiter it is. Now let's do that with another one. Let's come back into weight paint to see a little more what we have here. So we could play, for example, with this one, the water. Okay, we can play with this water here, and let's go and add a new one. So we can play with water like this. Okay, and whatever color, it's not really important. And we will use another one, maybe the flow rate. The flow rate is good to play with as well, or the sediment is good too. We will play with different, but let's say, oh, the capacity looks very good as well. I will use the water and the capacity. So I will add a new one and use the capacity here. Okay, let's go for that. Capacity node could not be created. Okay, good. Now I have everything. I can come back to my vertex paint here, and I will select the water over there and the water here, and go into this option, vertex color from weight. Now I will have this, okay? And now I will have the capacity that is a little different, okay? And the capacity here, and I will paint, and I will use set color, vertex color from paint, okay? And I will have this. So now I will have three different, as you can see, maps to play with and to texture my model. Okay, so the first thing we could do with this, and I will show you how it works into the shading now. So let's go into the shaders. So it's just simple ways of adding some colors or textures. So let's say you have different textures, some rocks, some grass, some maybe some snow or some water. And what you can do with that is we will just play with colors, and you can imagine that you will add some textures into it. I will not go that far, but just to show you how to mix this. So let's go first of all between the the grass and the rock. Okay, so higher we go, and we will have some rock here. So it will be a mix between two colors. Okay, you have a mixed color here. It will be a mix between the green of the grass, let's say something like that, okay, and something like this here, and the gray of the rocks, okay, just like this. So we have a mix. By default it will come out like this, but we will use the first map that we have, the height, and it was here. So you will go with input, and you will see that you can find there the layer weight, I would say. Is it layer weight? No, it's not layer weight. It's the color attribute. Yeah, just here. And now you can choose from the different things you have here. So we did play with the rain map. We just make this as a factor, and look, now you will have the color that will look like this. Okay, so let's say if you plug here the textures of rock, some textures of rocks, and here some textures of grass, something like that, you will have something that works well. Okay, let's add it like this. So now let's add a different variety of rock maybe, and we will just play with another mix here. We will plug this one here, but we will use another color attribute as well. I will just duplicate, and I will use the water, maybe the capacity here. Okay, so let's go into the capacity, and we will plug this into that over there. So the second color here will not be this. It will be maybe a different one. So here you see that you have the capacity over there. And so you will just mix with another color and add another color. So it might be something a little different, and it will depend. Yeah, something like that will work well. You see a little more in these colors, just to contrast the details over there. You can see that it works pretty well to add some details there. You can play with a color ramp as well. We did play already with color ramp, but it can just contrast these values if needed. Okay, so let's say we would like something a little less saturated, maybe over there, and maybe a little more near the green, something over there, and you can contrast things over there if needed. Okay, so you can play with the last one, and I will add another mix on this, and this one will be the water. Okay, so you can just click this one here, the color will be the factor over there, and then you just, as you want some water, maybe you want some water. Okay, and you can see that now you have this kind of color that will appear. So it's a very good way to play with, and with these settings here, you can play, for example, with the roughness of the file here. So for example, if you want to add more roughness or less roughness into some surface, let's say you would like everything to be non-reflective except the water. Okay, so you will use this color attribute and plug it into the roughness. So let's go and put the main color already. Okay, and you will have this kind of result. We want something without even with a lot of roughness on everything except the water. So what we will do, we will invert this. We can see that the water here is in white. So if I plug this directly, it will increase the roughness into the water and decrease the roughness into the rest of the surface. So what I will do, I will just add another color ramp that I will plug there and plug there to the roughness. But here I can invert the colors just by drag and drop this like that. Okay, and now you can see that I can add really no roughness at all into this surface, and maybe or just a bit, just like this. Okay, and now I will have everything that is non-reflective except the water, for example. So it can be very useful to use these techniques to add more depth and more realism into the surface that you will play with. Okay, so this was here the AntLandscape. Just imagine in except the color, if you change the color for textures, for rock textures and grass textures and maybe water textures, you will have already something that looks really, really good. I don't take this time because we did see already how to use these textures, but just to show you how it works basically to mix. You will just have to plug the texture sets over there. Okay. Here, so it's the AntLandscape, the Creating Terrain add-on, and that is available into Blender. We will see other ways of doing terrains during the training, more complex and more interesting in some ways, but this one is a simple and effective one. You just add some trees and some rocks into that, and it will work. Now we will see into the next video the extra objects and the bolt factory.